Last year, I built this beautiful bookshelf corner out of IKEA Billy bookshelves that I added trim to and painted, and I love it so much, but unfortunately, I've bought more books in the last year than my bookshelf can support. So I am planning on moving nonfiction, classics, religious books, cookbooks, DVDs, and video games over to a nook in my dining room. I built this base for a window seat and hutches 2 years ago when I was starting to tile my house. I started in this room, and I've tiled about 1,400 of the 1,700 square feet so far. I'm planning on putting a hutch on both sides, so a cabinet on the bottom, bookshelf on top, a window seat in the middle that'll have a seat and drawers underneath, very cozy, and a shelf above the window. It is going to take me, I think, about a month to do this all together. It could take less, could take more, but based on my normal DIY timeline with working around my 9-to-5 job. I always want to make sure that I have these kinds of building plans that are to scale and dimensional so that I can not only visualize the space, how it's going to be, but also make a cut list so I know exactly what I'll be cutting out of my sheets of plywood so I can have as little plywood waste as possible. Plywood sheets are about 4 foot by 8 foot, and they are expensive and they are a valuable resource to the earth. So I try to make sure I have as little offcuts as possible. If there are little scrap pieces, I always save those for future projects, but I'm trying to make the best use of it as I can. So I create this kind of cut list so I can see exactly what I'm going to need to cut out of each sheet of plywood. Cutting the plywood itself is easier if you use a table saw, which I do have, but I am scared to use, so I'm using a circular saw to cut my plywood here. And I should be wearing some sort of dust mask, but I'm not. But you should do that if you're planning on doing something like this. I only got the bottom cabinets cuts done today as well as the outsides of the hutches. I will need to do more cuts tomorrow, and I'll need to start assembling things tomorrow. I'm very excited for day 2, but I'm excited with the progress I made on day 1 as well.